Welcome to Swifties at Midnight. We're Anne
And Steffanie.
and we're so excited to have you join us. We're here to keep you in the lavender haze with the latest updates in Taylor's world and discuss the amazing love and light and poetry she brings to all of us. Make sure to stay by subscribing, and don't forget to share with all your fellow Swiftie friends. Hello!
Hi. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see us.
Hi! My
Yay.
little Taylor related piece of thing that I'm wearing today is a little
Your
1989 necklace that
1989. Cute.
Angelica got me.
So
Uh,
cute.
yeah.
I've always
Uh,
got my
mhm.
TTPD on me,
Always something.
and
Uh,
Taylor is always here.
always here. But we have been living off crumbs as far as Swiftie news goes.
Oh my gosh.
Taylor
Anything
has
we can get,
not left
we
us
take.
with
Yeah.
much. In fact, we've probably got the biggest news that we've gotten in several weeks. Just
Mhm.
diving right into Swiftie news right now. Just this morning, as of today, the day that we're recording, which is Monday, March 10th, which is totally unrelated to Taylor Swift, Mario Day, Mar,
Oh,
Mario. Yeah.
got
So
you.
if you're listening, well, you wouldn't be listening to the day we recorded it because you'd be in my house or Stephanie's house. Get out of here. But happy belated Mario Day if that's something that brings you joy.
Yes.
But as of, March 10th, People magazine came out with just a cute little announcement. Cute, exciting, fun,
Exciting and cute,
anything,
fun, all the things.
saying that exclusive clip would be aired at the iHeart Awards from the very first night of the Eras tour of Taylor performing a never before seen clip from night one, Glendale, Arizona. They didn't say what it was going to be, just an exclusive performance. Whatever that means, there's a lot of theories going around. My theory is that it's going to be a performance of Invisible String that was originally part of the set list, but was removed from the set list and replaced with the one, supposedly because Taylor couldn't perform it anymore because it made her sad when she and Joe broke up. So she
Must have
replaced it
been
with the one.
too fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But interesting because she does that with a lot of other songs. So I don't know. But that is a really great theory and I would love that. Invisible String, definitely one of my favorites. So that would be super fun. I was sad
And
when they got rid of the one though, too, for when Torture Poets Department kind of took over when
the
we
one,
had
the one's
folk more.
still there.
No, the one is? No. She didn't sing the one after.
No, it's Cardigan now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Crazy. I was
I
watching the
was
Eras Tour
sad.
movie. Yeah, I yeah, the mashing together of the Folklore and Evermore sets did make me sad.
We got rid of Tolerate It.
Greatest
So much.
American Dynasty. The
Yes,
Great
the Great
American
American
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I understand, but still the
make some
Evermore
sacrifices.
will forever be just like this album that feels so swept under the rug.
Yeah, I agree. And if you listen to last week's episode, you'll understand why we're both so sad. It's our favorite.
Mm.
Evermore, Folklore, so good.
Hmm.
They deserve a lot more credit than they get, for sure. I have some Swiftie related news that I didn't tell Anne about. Well,
Ooh.
you know about it, but I just didn't tell you that I was going to bring it up. So, my birthday was a couple weeks ago, and I was on a trip, and I come home and this giant box shows up, and I'm like, what the heck is this? I didn't order anything this big. And I opened it up, and the first thing I opened was this. It's so cute. It says Swift tea. I love it. I'm drinking Mountain Dew out of it right now, but not really tea, but I will drink tea out of it. And it has all the album names. It's so cute.
Minus
And
TTPD.
minus TTPD,
It's
which
not
I'll
that
forgive you.
advanced, but
I'll get a ceramic pen marker and
draw it
write
in
it on there.
there.
Yeah, I'll draw it in.
TTPD.
And then there is this cute Mad Libs for the fans. I picked one out. If we have time,
Yeah.
we'll do one tonight. I think it'd be so fun. I was so happy. I like jumped up and down. And this is all from Anne, and I'm just so grateful. She just knows exactly what I need. I was like, how did you know what vinyls I have and don't have?
You mentioned you didn't have Fearless at some
But I
point.
think I did. So thank you. I have yet to figure out where I'm putting my record player. I had to rearrange some things downstairs. I think it's gonna come in this room, and I'm gonna have a
Mm.
cute little setup for all my Taylor Swift vinyls. I think me and you need to have a running list of which ones we do and don't have. Because truly, I do want them all, but I can't
Mhm.
go out and buy them all because I'm not made of money. So I think it's a great gift. Just saying.
Hope
And
you
I
enjoyed
think you feel the same. Is that right?
it. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Anne.
You're
That's
welcome.
seriously such a sweet gift. And now I have all the Swiftie merch. I don't, but I have more, and that makes me happy. But
So glad you
anyway,
enjoyed it.
I just had to share that because I had all of it here with me and I had to show it off.
Mm.
So, um, in other Swiftie news,
Mother Swifty news.
sorta,
Kinda.
we're making it Swiftie news.
The Swifties made it Swifty news.
Mm, but I'm on board. You told me to go listen to that song and I was like, what? So Lady Gaga just released, did her whole album come out? I think so,
Yeah,
yes.
Mayhem.
Mayhem came out and there's a song on there called How Bad Do You Want Me? And I'm not, okay, this part I'm not sure, but a bunch of the Swifties think that Taylor is in the background vocals. What do you think?
Well, it's been confirmed that she's not. So let's just
Okay.
deflate that balloon right now. But the day that Mayhem came out, I opened up my TikTok and all the Swifties were just like, have you heard this new Lady Gaga song? I guarantee you,
Damn
Taylor
it.
recorded the background tracks for this.
Nobody
And
clowns harder
yeah,
than some
yeah. And
Swifties.
again, we're living off crumbs, so people just
Yeah.
needed something. But everybody, I'm being hyperbolic, but all the Swifties that just needed something to live off of were just latching onto this song, making all the videos, trying to isolate the background vocals and saying Taylor definitely recorded this. I think some people were even saying that Taylor Swift was actually listed on the credits on the song. Um, but it was not true. But it is very 1989 coded, and it does sound like.
It does sound like it hits different, which is from Midnight's 3 a.m. version, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Um, Yeah, it sounds freakishly like it hits different. I don't think in any sort of nefarious way. Like I don't think it
Mhm.
was intentional. I would hope not, but
It's got those vibes.
it is interesting how similar like the
Yeah.
bridge is to part of it. So you'll
Similar in the way that like songs of that those vibes can,
yeah,
can
just
only
like
have so many songs that sound like that.
oh for sure.
Uh, and Lady Gaga even reposted some of those videos
She did?
talking about how those songs sound so similar. And they were like, what in the 1989 is this? She's bringing back the era of, Taylor Swift 1989. Like she was fully on board with it. And people were calling
Whoa.
for a Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga uh
Can you
collaboration.
imagine? Oh my gosh.
That would be so
That would be incredible.
all that would bring me back to, 2008 when they were like
Yeah.
coming on to like really starting their careers.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
That would be super fun. You pointed out that Lady Gaga is only 2 years older. She's my age. And so, yeah, they came out similar times. Taylor was kind of already on the scene. But they definitely had their peak height of pop at the
Mhm.
same time. And yeah, for sure that would be so fun. I love Lady Gaga. I think she's an incredibly hard worker and is very talented too. So
Seems
a lot
nice,
of
and she's so inclusive, and
yeah, yeah.
she's done some
I
weird stuff, but haven't we all
She's
worn meat
just trying
dresses
to
out?
stand out and make a name for herself, even if it is covering herself in meat. And she's never gonna get away from that one, unfortunately.
Never.
Um, but that being said, she's weird and different. I watched I won't go very far into this, but I did watch a documentary about Lady Gaga and her past experiences in the pop world and like music labels and stuff, which does kind of come around to what we're talking about today. And yeah, she suffered a lot of like crazy abuse and gaslighting, and just she went through a lot of crazy stuff, and she has come out stronger and more outspoken because of it, and it's really cool. I like her a lot. Um, yeah. Okay, last piece of Swiftie news because we have a
A
lot to
lot
get
to
into
cover.
today. A lot to cover. How long has it been?
I
How-
don't know the exact day at this point, but over 87 days, under 100 days. Which
We like
87,
87 because of
87
Travis.
ah, okay, 87 is important because it was her longest
Oh,
hiatus after her like post rep hiatus. So it's beaten out that hiatus. So that's why 87 is important.
yeah.
And so she hasn't posted since she ended the Eras tour, which is quite some time. So,
Long
it's
time.
possible she's just relaxing, having a good time on vacation with Travis. Occasionally, I haven't really been following this because it's not really very interesting to me at this point. At first, it was kind of interesting to know that they're out having a good time wherever they are. Occasionally, um, on my feed, a picture of Travis and Taylor, wherever they are in Europe or wherever, maybe they're back in America. I don't know. Wherever they are out and about will pop up. It's a very grainy picture from very far away. Will pop up of them crossing the street or something. No official events, no official dinners. They actually don't want to be seen now. So there are no like high quality pictures. They don't want to be seen, so
Yeah.
they're rarely being seen.
They're definitely keeping their distance for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Will pop up, but other than that, it's just like radio silence. So either it's like, hey, I'm not around, I don't want to be around, whether they're on vacation and are just trying to set some ambiance for before they head to the iHeartRadio Awards.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a whole thing for an upcoming album, clouding for rep. Or maybe it is some smoke around the Lively Baldoni case. Whatever the
Yeah.
reason is, they don't want to be seen. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
And that's fine. Yeah.
And I do kind of wish
I
the
hope.
paparazzi would stop following them.
I know. I was like, there's days where I don't want to be seen by anybody, even my children. And just everybody leave me alone. That'd be great. I'm just kidding. Well, we have been talking about doing this episode for a while, and we decided to dive in and go for it. We are going to give you some Taylor Swift 101. So you might know most of this, but I think we're going to offer some new things, some new perspectives maybe, and some details maybe you haven't heard before. We wanted to go over the entire history and
Saga.
saga. Yeah, drama. The saga of Big Machine Records, Scott Porchetta, Scooter Braun, well, and how Taylor Swift um got involved in all of the drama. Well, she was the basis of them causing the drama. So,
And why she's doing her re-records and why it's not a money grab, as any Taylor Swift hater will tell you.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think it's super important for all of us to understand why Taylor's version exists
Mhm.
and how we got here. So that's what we're going to dive into, and we have a lot to get into. We might possibly turn this into two parts, just depends on how
Yeah,
far
let's
we
just see how it
go.
goes.
We're just going to see
We're gonna
how it
play it by
goes.
ear.
We'll let you know.
Mhm.
By
So
the
stick
time
with
this
us.
episode comes out, you'll know. Um,
Yeah, if it says
but
PT1, then you'll know. So you're gonna know but you're gonna know before we know in this moment.
yeah. Wow. My brain is broken. Ooh, I don't can't
Ooh, is it
process that right
scary?
now. It's fine.
Shall we?
Okay, let's start in the very beginning of when Taylor started really when she started her professional career. She was 13 years old. And she signed a development deal with RCA Records, a huge music label, around 2003, 2004. And it was just a deal to help her develop as an artist and kind of get a feel for where she would go in her career. And she decided to leave when they said they would not guarantee uh, an album release for her. And in fact, excuse me. Yep. In fact, in 2005, they refused to offer her a full recording contract, and instead they wanted to keep her in that development stage until she was 18. So they wanted her in the long game. They wanted to like develop her for 5 whole years and then start releasing albums. And I just think about especially younger Taylor Swift, where she had all these ideas and all these things just oozing out of her. There's no way she wanted to wait until she was 18 to start releasing albums and stuff and really making a big name for herself. She said, I genuinely feel that I was running out of time. I wanted to capture these years of my life on an album while they still represented what I was going through. She has always just like been so on top of things. She has gotten it. She just gets it, and she has since a super young age. Well, shortly after she left RCA. She was performing at the Bluebird Cafe, which is a big deal. And I had heard this story, right? But I was like, wow, how did she get this gig? And it kind of makes a little bit more sense knowing that she actually had already been working with a record label. I believe she had been writing songs. She had been working as a songwriter for them as well. Um, and so it makes a little bit more sense. She has connections in Nashville. And so she was performing in the Bluebird Cafe, and a man named Scott Borchetta discovered her. And at the time, he was an executive for DreamWorks Records. But he thought she was the perfect thing that the country music industry needed. They were totally flooded with like middle-aged men like Tim McGraw. Um, and he saw something that she could bring to the table. And he said, it was quoted somewhere that he told them he was going to leave his job and start a record label and come back and sign Taylor Swift as one of the very first artists. Um, and her dad ended up becoming a shareholder. He helped, what's the word? Start it up? Start up? He helped
Yeah,
it.
he contributed
He contributed,
$500,000 to the
invested.
startup of the company. Yep. He
Yes.
invested, which amounted to 3% of the
Hmm.
company. Good old Scott Swift, the investment banker.
Yes.
Uh, Taylor definitely put in hard work to get where she get it.
Abs-
Get where she got.
She
But
gave the
she did also have um the many advantages in life, loving parents and parents that had money, so that definitely helped too. And I think it's important
for
to
sure.
acknowledge that.
For sure.
But she worked her butt off as well.
Hmm.
So it's the combination of both really helped just project her career forward.
Absolutely. And they all could see, I think, her potential and what she needed right now, to set up her future correctly. Uh, Unfortunately, and this will become important later too in the story of Scott having um, partial ownership in Big Machine Records. Unfortunately, even at the time, they didn't understand how the masters worked and who really has the ownership of it and all of that stuff. Um, so we'll get back to that. But I apologize. Sorry, Anne. My brain's catching up. So Taylor became the very first artist to sign with Big Machine Records, and she released her debut album in 2005. And she sold over 5 million, almost 6 million copies of the debut album and really put Big Machine Records on the map. I mean, obviously, we know her career
Mhm.
totally exploded with
Mhm.
her debut album. Um, and everybody knew the name Taylor Swift, even at the time, which she was what, 50, 15, 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, And because she was making a big impact and giving them kind of a name, they they actually signed Tim McGraw and some other really big country stars at the time. I apologize, I
Oh.
don't have the receipts for that, but
Imagine blowing up so much
as
that
a 15-year-old.
the the artist that you wrote a song about
Ah,
goes and signs with the record label that was pretty much created for you.
right?
Isn't that wild?
Right? This is so crazy and this is so important. These
Mhm.
foundations of how she got started is so important to why things
Why they went
why
the way they
we're
went.
mad.
And this is
Yes,
why
why they went the way they went.
we're starting with the foundations of how she began, because it's important to set this all up for how everything kind of crumbled as we
Yeah.
go further on. Because if you don't understand what happens here, then you don't, it's hard to know the context of how everything fell apart.
Yes. Fell apart, but then
Came back
I
together.
I think was for her good with where we
Hmm.
are now.
Hmm.
Um, yes, it's been reported that Taylor Swift's entire catalog with Big Machine Records accounted for approximately 80% of Big Machine's revenue during her whole career with them. And so can we say she carried them? Can we say that she funded this record label?
Hmm.
I think so.
Imagine if one item at Walmart brought in 10 to 15% of their sales.
even that, yeah,
Yeah,
incredible.
they wouldn't want to lose that one item, but you'd also want to make sure it was well taken care of, well displayed. You'd want to make sure that the distributor of that item,
Was happy.
yeah, wasn't screwed over.
Yeah. So 80% is huge. Uh, and she went on to release so she signed a 6 album deal with Big Machine Records, and she did that. We had Fearless in 2008, Speak Now 2010, we had Red and Reputation. Did I miss one? 1989. So important. So important. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out like the financial milestones of what it meant to have her as an artist, and um really she just blew it out of the water with the for them. Um so her last album, well, do we want to get into, I'm sorry we didn't talk too much about this. Do we want to get into the transition of when she started to become a little bit unhappy?
Yeah, yeah, that's important. I mean, when when did you find that that started? When she started to become a little uneasy, a little unhappy? Was that when Scott was talking about selling? Was it earlier?
From, I mean, there's not a lot out there, and I think she probably had to be careful because she was still an artist under this record label. But uh, I really think it probably started with Red when, in 2012, so a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to experiment. Red is not a full country album. There are country
No.
songs on it, but she just decided to start experimenting with pop music, with just like kind of more folk music. What's the term? There's a different term. Al
Okay.
Alternative folk, bluegrass? No, there's. I just had heard it and I was trying to remember. It's fine. You can cut this all out. Um, but she was just experimenting with different genres, and Big Machine Records was built as a country music label. And especially where they had really big names. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying Tim McGraw. Um, Tim McGraw, because to me, I was a 90s kid, huge name, huge name. When you have big country names like Tim McGraw, you want to continue to sign more artists in that genre, right? So you try to make an image for your label, and that's what they were trying to do, right? And as Taylor says in some interviews, she was discouraged from doing anything besides country. Well, she released a couple of pop songs, and Red, we know, has 22, We're Never Ever Getting Back Together, like huge pop songs, and those
Mhm.
went off, right? Well, Scott Borchetta came out and said, like, oh yeah, that was my idea. I encouraged her to try a pop backtrack for those songs because the country version just wasn't quite right.
Yeah, Scott. Hmm.
But that's not what, she had said in interviews previously, was that her label was discouraging her from that. And just the way she talks about their relationship in other interviews, they talk a lot. They had a very close friendship. I don't know. Maybe that's alleged, but just from the way she talks about him and things that they went through and did together, which I can imagine she was their biggest artist and the first artist, and he discovered her. It was said too, like she was the only artist that he discovered. Everybody else was already kind of making it when they got signed on. Uh, so we had Red, and then what came after Red?
1989.
1989, the poppiest of pop.
Oh
Yay,
yeah.
on your necklace. The
Set the
poppiest of pop.
'Standard.
Records. I'm sure. going full pop was not ideal for this big country music label. And the country fans were mad too, and there was that whole thing where a lot of people were upset that she changed genres,
Yeah,
but
they were so upset they pulled her off the that mural in
yeah, in Nashville?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the one with all the country singers on it, and you can just see like one little bit of her hair still, and that's it.
So petty. Uh, why can't women change? What's so bad about that?
Change is change is bad, apparently.
I don't know. Um, okay, so then, we had Reputation,
Hmm.
and that's wrapped up in a lot of, the Scooter Braun of it all with Kanye and Justin Bieber. We
Yeah.
didn't do a lot of, research on that part of it, so we're not gonna get into that. And all like so much of that is alleged, right? We
But what we
only
can tell you is we know that Taylor hated Scooter Braun,
yeah.
still hates Scooter Braun, or at least has not come out and
Mhm.
says, I don't hate him anymore. So
Right.
I think
We're
it's
not
pretty
trying to
safe
make
to
amends or
say
anything.
that she probably still doesn't like him. But she had lots of conversations with Scott Borchetta. She referenced saying all the conversations that I had with Scott Borchetta about Scooter Braun were conversations where I was either about to cry or crying because Scooter Braun was the manager, right?
Yes, he was a talent
For
manager.
for uh for Kanye and Justin Bieber, but Kanye specifically caused Taylor Swift so much heartache. And we don't really have to go into that, but we know what Kanye did. We've talked about it on this podcast a lot, and of course, if you're a
If you
Swiftie,
don't know, I mean,
where have you
who
been?
are you?
And
Yeah.
go look up
I-
Taylor Swift, Kanye West drama if you don't know.
mhm.
But it's to be the talent manager of somebody supporting that is, I mean, you have to be in deep to
Yeah.
to do that.
You become friends with, and it was shown, Justin Bieber had posted, I think it was on Instagram, like a screenshot of a FaceTime with him. Well, it was Justin, and then he was FaceTiming Kanye West and Scooter Braun, and there was somebody else in that picture. I apologize, I don't remember. And the caption was, "What up, Taylor Swift?" Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Justin.
So, like they're friends, right? They create these close relationships with their talent managers. I mean, that is no
Mhm.
secret. And so, this idea that Kanye's actions were like signed off, he created a revenge porn on his music video of Taylor
Mm.
Swift. Like, how does your talent manager not step in and be like, no, I don't think we should do that?
Mhm.
Unless he was cool with it and like in on it? Um, so anyway, that's that whole thing. And that's just a big reason why, yeah, Taylor is not a fan of Scooter Braun. And that brings us to our next big section of this of why she decided to do the re-records.
This is where things really get messy, I guess.
Yeah.
Spicy.
This is the tea.
Yes, the
The
tea is
Swift
piping
tea.
hot here. The Swiftie. Uh, Everything really starts to come to a head when Scott Borchetta decides that he wants to sell Big Machine Records. And he wants to sell it to Scooter Braun, and that is not it. And just around the same time, Taylor's contract is expiring. Her sixth album contract is coming to an end. And Taylor is already unhappy. We know this. She doesn't fit their image. She knows that if she renews, she could be spending whatever the next renewed contract is with somebody that she doesn't know, possibly Scooter Braun, who she hates. It's not a good deal.
Yeah, and I don't think she had any idea that Scooter was going to be involved.
Not
She,
yet.
no, she didn't know, and that's why it was such a big deal because there's a quote of her saying somewhere, he, never in my, I think she said something like, he was the last person I thought would be taking that over because of all the conversations that she's had
Mm.
with Scott about him. And so she claims she is very taken
She was taken aback by him.
taken aback.
So
Yeah.
at this point, that was not who she thought it was going to be.
No. And her team had been trying to purchase her masters because they knew her contract was going to expire. And she was done being a country artist and wanted to be out of a country label. So makes sense. And they basically told her, they offered her a deal where she needs to sign on for 10 more years and then she'll get her master's back. And there's a little bit of a discrepancy in how that was presented. Taylor claims that she would have to like earn them back one by one, what was
Mhm.
presented to her. And, but it would have been more like a trade-off. So she would have to earn her old masters by recording a new album
Mhm.
and giving that to Big Machine.
And
But
she
Big
would never own her own music.
she would own the old music, but she wouldn't own the new music that she creates. And so she basically had to put faith
Just
either in her record label or in herself, right?
and
In
just
her
keep
future.
re just keep recording new albums and getting
And
old albums
bring them
and
over.
recording the new albums to get the old albums, and it just that doesn't
What's
make
the point? What's the point of that? And that would have been like her saying, all my best years are behind me. And I would
Mhm.
rather own all my old stuff than
Mhm.
continue to create. And we know that Taylor is not set up to be that person. She just needs to create. She needs, and why not? Why can't she own her own work? It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Um, but Big Machine claimed that they were going to give her all of her masters after the 10-year contract ended. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy in how that was presented, but basically she just said, "No way, that's not for me. I want to move on." So that was the deal, whether made her by offering her, which this will come up later, opportunities to buy her masters.
Mhm.
That
They
was
said
the
they gave
opportunity.
her every
Every
opportunity.
chance and
Yeah.
opportunity.
Two opportunities.
And neither of them were good. Like they were bad deals.
Hmm. Hmm. They
So,
used a lot of specific wording to make
mhm,
it like to be legally in the right for what they
mhm.
said, while actually being really manipulative and
Yes.
just not
Yes.
meaning, not saying the right thing while not actually being genuine.
Yes. And Taylor, I think there was also a couple other instances, and I think they involve more of Scooter, but basically she was offered other deals, but she would have to also sign an NDA where she couldn't talk about the other people publicly. and she didn't want to sign those either
No.
because she deserves to speak up for herself and she's not afraid to. And so once she started talking about it, this was all when Lover was coming out.
Like
Yeah, Lover.
2019.
Yeah, Lover had come out and this was all going down kind of at the same time. Lover was with her new record label, but basically she wasn't afraid to say what was happening, but and then they had to keep coming back and like trying to smooth it over and cover their tracks, and all of their wording is just gaslighting her what she's saying
Mm.
and trying to make themselves look good and
Such lawyer talk. It's
bunch of lawyer
very,
talk.
very well thought out
Hmm.
and specific.
Yeah,
Just like,
actually not
oh, but
non-specific.
oh yeah, non-specific. We
Yeah,
said this, but it could be interpreted these ways,
right,
just to catch you in a trap. Yeah.
exactly.
So our girl Taylor is now free from Big Machine Records
Yay.
with her new label. So she's out going off to record new albums, but she has all her old work that she does not own,
Yes.
which is obviously a bummer. Um and she's being blocked from using her music, right?
Hmm.
Um and what even Big Machine Records even released some of her music without her permission or even like a heads up, right?
Yeah, they released a live music session back from 2008. So it must have been like a Fearless, what did it say? Clear Channel Stripped 2008, an album of Taylor Swift's past performances without her approval.
Yeah,
She was quoted as saying that that was tasteless greed.
that is in poor taste.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that.
Yeah, I
It
never heard of that either.
I can't
That was
imagine that did well.
clearly it didn't because I don't know about it. That was in 2020.
Mm,
So after everything had gone down and after she released Lover and Lover did very well.
hmm
So they're
hmm
probably
Yeah.
just trying to capitalize on her popularity. Yeah.
Well, Taylor obviously wanted to reclaim her work, but what what could she do?
Yeah. She didn't really know, I think. I don't know. She maybe she did. Maybe she said she had some ideas. But July 14th, 2019, Kelly Clarkson, the amazing diva she is, we love her. Um, she sent out a tweet that said basically that Taylor should just re-record her music and put new art and give the fans an incentive to buy the new recordings over the old ones. And you know what Taylor did? She just told her story. She just put it on Tumblr what exactly happened. There's this whole
Hmm.
huge paragraph of her saying what happened. And that was all the incentive the Swifties needed.
Oh
And
yeah.
more people too. I think that created a lot of Swifties actually, of people speaking out and supporting her too.
Yeah, the things that were done were so it was also sneaky and underhanded
Mhm.
when Stephanie, you were telling me when the decision was all finalized and everything, Scott sent a text to Taylor at what 3 a.m.
Yeah.
saying that the sale was finalized 3 a.m.
3 o'clock
She
in the morning,
woke
the
up.
day of.
Yeah. She woke up and saw the sale of it on the news. So she didn't see his text. She saw the sale in the news. And obviously that is a shocking thing to see. So he didn't give her more than a few hours notice. And
Yeah.
that's how she found out. And everyone was saying, how could you not know? Your dad was a shareholder and on the board of directors, but he was kind of locked out of it because, yes, they did have a board of directors meeting, but while they did tell Scott Swift, Taylor's father, that there was a board of directors meeting where they were going to meet up, in order to attend, he had to sign an NDA where he could not tell Taylor what was going on. And Scott Swift was like, no way, I'm going to attend this meeting and not tell Taylor what is going on. So they had this meeting, and Scott Swift wasn't going to attend because he was not going to go and do anything behind his daughter's back. So no,
Mhm.
Scott Swift didn't know.
He
Taylor
didn't
didn't
know.
know. It was
Yeah.
all behind her back.
Hmm. And she knew because Scott had talked about it for years that he was going to sell the record label. As soon
Scott
as she left,
Borchetta.
yes, Scott Porchetta. Sorry. I know. And Scooter's name is Scott. Also, we have three Scotts in this story, and it's
Scott, Scott,
very
Scott.
confusing. So we're saying Scott is Scott Porchetta. Scott Swift, we'll say Scott Swift because that's easy. And Scooter is Scooter, but
Scooter.
ugh.
Whenever we say scooter, we'll say scooter.
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 Oh. Yeah. So yeah, she knew Scott was gonna sell, but she didn't know who he was selling it to. And so that was the big shock that day
Mhm.
was that he sold it to Scooter, and she felt very betrayed, I think, because he knew exactly how she felt about him. And I believe it was in that Tumblr post she said something like they knew exactly what they were doing. And I heard her say in an interview that I think it was with Good Morning America. She just said, "Oh my gosh, I lost it. It left my body." What did she say? Because I loved it. Oh, she said that Scott had 305 million reasons to forget all those conversations they had about Scooter. Yeah. So it was sold for 305 million, 330 million,
330, I think.
330 million. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, I was like, yeah, money talks, unfortunately, and money also makes you forget. So, yeah, that was that infamous day that she didn't know that it was being sold to the last person on earth that she wanted it to be sold to. Um,
She didn't want anything to do with
and
him.
mm-mm.
That
Once
was
he
just
owned
done.
Big Machine Records, he offered her the ability to buy her. How did that one work? I think that one was he offered her the ability to buy the masters, but she would have to sign an NDA to like never talk about him in public anymore or something like that. I might be mixing that up a little bit with the other things that were going on, but I she didn't want to sign any NDAs that
I know there was
limited her to
one
talk.
that included an NDA where she
Yes,
couldn't talk about him. And it's just like, how about you just act in a way where you don't have to sign a contract to have
right.
people not talk bad about you?
Right. Exactly.
This is really that easy.
It is that easy.
Just
You
don't
could
be a
just
terrible person,
be
and then you won't
honest.
have to have people sign a contract to make you not talk bad about them.
Can we just be honest and good and
Some
not
of us can't, so
yikes?
yikes indeed.
And then we have to send our wife to tweet or whatever
Dirty work.
was done. I don't remember if it was a tweet or Instagram saying, "How could you not know? Why are you being so butthurt about this? Like your dad was a shareholder." She literally called out Taylor's dad. And that's when Taylor's team came back and was like,
Silly.
actually, he didn't know. And you guys knew that he didn't know. So how can you come for that. And why are we making dumb allegations that we know there's proof of the opposite? Yeah, they're just so dumb and money greedy, money, what is the word? Money
Money hungry.
hungry. Thank you. They're just so money hungry and men. Ugh. Just kidding.
Mm,
Uh,
I'm not.
yeah, there's just a lot of really greedy, power hungry men out there, and it is disgusting.
Tell me about it.
Get your priorities straight. That's all I have to say.
Mm.
Well, after that all went down, um,
Taylor had some
in
decisions to make.
she had some decisions to make, and in August of 2019, she announced that she was going to re-record her first 6 albums. And she has only done 4. Taylor, you promised us 6. We need 2 more. We're waiting. We're waiting. Even she stated, I'm going to be busy. I'm very excited about it. We love her for that. And she has been very busy. Do you think she knew about the Eras tour at that point? Probably not because she was
Mm.
planning Loverfest, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
She saw her. I don't think she didn't know about Folklore and Evermore at that point.
Yeah, they didn't exist inside of her yet.
They did inside of her. They
Or
did.
they were inside of her, but she
She
didn't
didn't know
know.
it. She didn't know
Yeah.
it. They were just a little tickle in her brain.
Well, just a couple months later, she was invited to perform at the AMAs, the American Music Awards, for Artist of the Decade. And she claimed that Big Machine Records was preventing her from performing her older songs and also for using them with a Netflix documentary. And they both came out with statements that said something. This was where they really like spun their words to make it sound like they were not in the wrong at all. Um, they both came out with statements saying, "Oh, we never said that," or "We didn't say that she couldn't perform her music." And Scott said something like, she has every right to perform whatever she wants, or something like that, but more lawyery because it had to be true. Um, because later Taylor's team came out with more proof of like, hey, remember when you sent us these emails saying that we can't perform any of Taylor's old songs at the AMAs or use them for this Netflix documentary? Yeah. Anyway, so I think
Do
she just
that.
performed Lover songs.
Why do that
Why?
when there's receipts to be had?
Yeah. I watch a lot of true crime, and the stupidest ones are the ones who Google all the shit. They Google everything.
Oh, yeah. Uh, uh,
And
the
it's like, do you
the
not know? Do you not know?
I a man tiny tiny tangent. I just the world right now, America makes me so sad. A
Yeah.
man Googled, is it illegal to kill um an is it was either an illegal or an undocumented, something like that. And then he went and he killed his undocumented
Oh,
wife.
no.
So so people are evil. People are evil and stupid. That's
It's
that's
illegal to kill
anybody.
anybody.
Anyway,
Oh, dear.
anyway, I'm so sad.
Anyway,
I'm so sad.
I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, yeah, just people be kind. I mean, obviously don't kill people. You know, that's the bare minimum, but also just like
Apparently not.
beyond the bare minimum, just like be kind.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Uh, well, she had definitely been put through it.
Mhm.
And came out with uh, signing with Republic.
Mhm.
And we had kind of done a little bit of research on like just the deal that she made. And uh, the industry standard for most musicians, and I think this probably has changed drastically, was they were getting like 10 to 15% royalties of all albums sold. Well, Taylor signed on with Republic Records, and she has more of like a 50% royalty rate, which is crazy. Amazing. Like, so proud of her for doing that and getting that deal. But I'm sure they recognized how much value she was going to bring them and
Mhm.
wanted her to be happy.
Yeah. Even 50% of Taylor Swift sales is a huge number compared to, 75%, 80% of somebody else's sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so she created Lover as her seventh album, first with Republic, and around, well, that's a whole other thing. You should go listen to our Loverfest episode and you'll
Mm.
know all about what happened there.
Yeah, one of our earlier
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
I think it's episode 2, in
Oh my
fact.
gosh.
Indeed, it is
I was
episode
wearing my
2.
Lover outfit.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so she's in a much better place. And
Don't make it sound like she's
I
dead.
know she didn't die. She's living a much happier life
Mentally. But also
mentally.
she's probably at some fancy hotel or villa or something right now.
I know, right?
But yes, you're right. She was probably just for months and months on end just anxious about what am I going to do with my
Yeah.
career? What am I doing right now? What's going on with my songs? But after she signed with Republic Records and did her plan with her re-records and it was so successfully received, she probably was mentally in a much better place.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Makes me happy too. Really, I feel like everybody figuring out Taylor's version just became that much more of a Swiftie if they weren't already. And it definitely piqued my interest. I mean, the re-records didn't come out till 21, and in our last episode we talk about how Folklore and Evermore came out 2020 and made a big impact on us. Speaking of 2020, sorry to backtrack a little bit, but interesting enough, Scooter Braun actually turned around and sold her masters to another company called Shamrock Holdings, and for $405 million. Um, which, what's interesting? That's just like a tiny little blip in the amount of money that she's brought in the last 3 years. Um, and they actually offered her a deal to partner with them to own her masters. So this other company even was like, "Hey, do you want a chance at having these again?" But she found out that Scooter would still profit off of them, and she said
Oh,
no. And she had already, announced that she was going to do the re-recordings and probably was already working on them because only a few months later we got Fearless,
well,
Taylor's version.
yep. He was probably desperate for her to not release
Hmm.
those re-records.
Hmm. Yeah.
I saw a quote from her the other day, and she was talking about how happy it made her when she sees one of her songs where it says song name Taylor's version.
Yeah.
She loves that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I hope we get Rep TV and debuts soon so I can stop
This
sending
year.
Scooter the pennies from every time I listen to
I know.
Delicate or
I
Getaway.
know. I love Delicate.
Yeah. The re-records made a really big impact, I think, on the Swifties and other fans. But it also made a really big impact for other musicians, other artists. Um, do you want to walk us through?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
So
I'm crashing.
you're good. Uh, there, the re-records set a precedent for uh, artists owning their own masters for artists owning their own masters going forward. It also inspired other artists to re-record any any of their own masters that they didn't own. Jojo Demi Lovato, who was previously with Big Machine Records, who is now with Safe House Records. They have re-recorded some of their own work. It has also set the standard that artists should receive a higher percentage of their royalties, whether or not artists like Taylor, they have been positively affected by Taylor, and whether or not people in general like Taylor Swift, they should know that if an artist has recorded any music after Taylor has made this deal, their favorite artist has been positively affected by Taylor. So it's a big deal. The re-records are not just a money grab or an attention grab.
Yeah,
It was reclaiming a piece of herself and her life's work.
yeah, absolutely. And we all love it. And it made the Eras tour like that much more of a thing. I feel like that much more exciting. And she
Mm-hmm.
released Speak Now, Taylor's version at the Eras tour, or announced it. And we were all clowning for all the other ones. And we got 1989. Is that it? 1989 and Speak Now, are those the only ones announced at the Eras tour?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the blue set and the purple set. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, you know how much Taylor was upset from Scooter specifically getting the her masters from this quote where you found that said essentially my musical legacy is about to lie in the hands of someone who tried to dismantle it. And so he did try to, pull it apart, and Taylor's found a way to put it back together, which I think
Yeah.
is beautiful.
And made it blossom bigger than she probably could have ever imagined.
Yeah, she's got to relive
Um,
it all, and she has re-recorded four of the albums at least with a more mature and stronger voice. Her
mhm.
vocals have improved a lot over the years as she has just grown. We've watched her
Yeah.
grow up, and
Yeah.
her vocals
It's so
have
cool.
grown with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was Taylor's version 101, I guess. And we're so grateful for her setting an example for standing up for herself and continuing to have a voice. And I think that's been one of the biggest things uh, that everyone kind of really resonated with and was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I want Taylor's version.
Hmm.
The girl that's like, this is not Taylor's version. And then she made a shirt that said it for the Eras tour. So beautiful. But every time she wore it, we were like, she's releasing Rep TV. Oh gosh. So yeah,
Well, shall we finish off with one Taylor Swift Mad Libs?
let's do a Mad Libs. I'm ready. I picked out one. I'm not going to tell you the title of it
All right.
until you give me all the words. Okay. Give me a noun.
Um, Butter.
An adjective. I can't say that word.
Uh, Yellow.
Oh, buttery yellow is the color
Oh,
that
yeah, I
I'm
don't know
breathing right
why.
now.
I
I
guess those
love
just
that.
went
Okay.
together.
A type of event.
Um, a party.
Party. A type of food. A plural type of food.
Sandwiches.
Ooh. A part of the body.
Knee or knee.
A knee.
Knee?
Oh,
A knee?
I thought you said me.
Knee.
Okay. A verb. I don't know
um,
what a verb is either. It's fine.
it's so
An
late. I'm
action.
having a
An
hard time
action word.
thinking. Kissing?
Great.
Kiss?
An animal.
Uh, Giraffe.
Ooh. Another verb.
Um, Kayaking.
Another type of event.
Um,
Sure, it's been really good.
Grocery shopping. No, that's not an event. Is it? Yeah,
Sure.
grocery shopping, I guess.
It's a necessary event. Another adjective.
Um, Lovely.
Ooh. An article of clothing.
A sweater. A cardigan.
Love you. Okay, plural animal.
Um, Frogs.
Frogs. No, we're running out of time. Another adjective.
Um, Tasty.
A place.
Antarctica.
I'm not going to pretend to spell that. A color.
Purple.
Okay, another verb.
Um, Wildly.
This is an action.
Oh, an action. It's too late. Um,
It is too late.
Col uh Scamper.
Camper. Like
Scamper. Yankee
Magby does.
scamper, yeah.
Okay, a plural noun.
Uh,
A
Chimneys.
chimney. Chimney. Okay. This is things you should never tolerate.
Oh.
People who talk over a butterball game. I agree. Okay, people who think they're more yellow than everyone else. People who ruin your party.
Oh.
Totally. People who tell you that you smell like sandwiches.
Rude.
People who break your knee.
Oh.
Fancy Kerrigan, anybody? People who kiss like a giraffe. People who don't let you kayak at a grocery shopping.
Rude.
That one maybe didn't work. It's okay. Uh, at the grocery store. How dare they? People who steal your lovely cardigan.
Oh, that
I
is
agree.
rude.
Do not tolerate that behavior. People who don't like frogs.
They would not like it here.
People who make you feel bad for being tasty. That's my favorite. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll try and get this one out. People who ditch you at Antarctica.
Okay.
I would not tolerate that either. People who hate the color purple. people who scamper your chimneys on the playground.
Well, just in time for the outro. Why don't you take us on out, Stephanie?
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and on YouTube. We hope this episode made you feel like you're ready for it. Don't forget to leave a review. Your feedback never goes out of style. If you loved what you heard, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who's gorgeous. Tune in next time for more great content. Until then, stay in your wildest dreams and have a fantastic day. Bye.